All right, we have March 9th, 2026 in Chickasaw County Board of Supervisors room. We'll call this meeting to convene. All members are present along with Board Secretary Sheila Shackleton. Is there a motion to approve today's agenda for today, March 9th?
So, there.
Motion by Scott, second by Travis to approve today's agenda that was published Friday. Any discussion? Not hearing any. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion is carried. Approve the minutes from March 2nd, last Monday.
So. Second.
Motion by Scott, second by Steve to approve the minutes on March 2nd minutes. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion is carried. Claims, payroll dated last Friday the 6th. Everybody saw those. Any questions, concerns? If not, is there a motion to approve the payroll prior bill claims?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Travis, second by Isaac to approve the payroll claims from last Friday. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carried. I didn't see any other prior bills, but there is bills of $124,134.74. There was one claim in there for our attorney, Sheila, I talked to this morning. They're gonna credit that back. It was credited wrong to the assessor's office, but we hold the HR contract with Ehlers and Cooney. So
Yeah, it was stuff that was dealing with us, Chickasaw County, not the assessor.
is there a motion to approve the claims in that amount?
I'll move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Steve, second by Scott to approve the claims in the amount of $124,134.74 to be paid. Any discussion on the claims? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carried. Anybody have a committee assignment in the past?
I had a Northeast Iowa Workforce Development Board meeting Thursday. Basically, the South Central Division is looking to merge with somebody. Their administrator has resigned. Will be done at the end of March. Basically, sounds like they don't have enough money to pay administrator, so.
So most likely it's gonna be one workforce agency in the whole state eventually.
So no, there's two other ones that are merging July 1. The South Central includes Cedar Rapids and one other one. I don't have the map up here. They got a meeting every 2 weeks now about it. Questions.
Crazy. I'm gonna bring up a committee assignment that I thought was done. Thanks Scott, myself, for some background of this. CSS got a claim on Wednesday that the state auditor's bill was like $19,000 and CSS only paid like $12,000 prepaid before we gave all the money back to DHS. So I've been going through emails all weekend with Rob Sam. I've talked to Rob Sam, the auditor, on Saturday morning. Talked to Mary, CEO, past CEO, and Chris, past financial director. Got a lot of information over the weekend, submitted back to the state auditor, back to DHS, and there was an email that if we don't have the money, all 12 counties will have to pay the state auditor. You guys can probably imagine what those phone calls were like when we just gave back $2.7 million to the state of Iowa for DHS. So just letting you guys know that there's some unsettled claims right now with the state auditor's office for doing the audit of fiscal 25. But I'm glad that Rob Sam did reach out to me Saturday to clarify and get some facts of why their office submitted that bill. Because you can imagine when they sent that to me and 3 past staff members, all their email accounts just went back to me because they're no longer in operation. So I was the chair of CSS when we closed the region, so I will be taking a lot of phone calls with State Auditor Rob San and Rob from the DHHS, trying to figure out who is indeed responsible for that claim.
So surely this isn't the first office or institution that closed. So you would think that $2.7 million would have a year for all the bills that would come in. At least if they feel like they need to get paid.
So 2 different state agencies though. One did the audit, one did the recap of the funds. Yeah. So we'll just see what happens. 2 state agencies I'm dealing with over the weekend. Took some emails and phone calls last night from past CSS members and board members trying to say, you keep fighting them, figure out who actually indeed owes that money. But we'll see. I almost called David, but we're not quite there yet with an attorney present, but we'll see what happens. Because that will be, they did say 12 counties will be paying the bill. That was from DHS, and it's like, no, wait a second. So we'll see what the past CSS board will have to be called back. I know we kept the 2080 together until I think June 30th, but hopefully we don't have to. I mean, we had no line item to pay this. We had no budget authority to pay this. Remember, they took our mental health levy rate away from us. So to be continue with, I thought, a past committee assignment, but it came back maybe needed. So 9:05, no public comment, should have.
Yes, I got 2 things I would like to share.
Yep.
Okay, the first thing is, all the cities, schools, and us got our budgets public notice on time. I was able to download the mailings to our system and then upload them to Mailings Incorporated, or Mailings, Incorporated. So, Services Incorporated, that's the name I was looking for. But anyways, so Lon, who's the person I've been talking to through mailing services, he assures me that the mailings will take place on Tuesday. Now, there's nothing that's really changed on the mailings from the years prior. So on the front page, remember that we will have 3 sections. And depending on where you live, whether all 3 sections will be used. For example, if you're within a city, you will have 3 sections being used because you will have a school section, and this is going to tell the date and time and the place for the public hearing for the school. You will have the county section, and it also tells the date and time and the place for their public hearing, and then we also have the city, same thing, day and time. If you're out in the or out in the rural area, you will only have 2 sections that are filled in. It'll be the school system section and the county section. And remember, everybody has their date on there, their time, and their location for their public hearing. And on the second page of the mailing, we have a little they have like a little tip section on the top part. Now, if this is all zeros, it means that you haven't had tip before, there's no district, or if you did ask for TIF and it's not on there, it's because it's a new taxing district. So this takes information from last year, so it doesn't have this year's information yet. Again, we have the examples, if you live in a city if you have a residential property or commercial, they have your examples on the mailings. If you have any questions, please call the office and we will be happy to help you. Do you guys have any questions?
The reason she talked about TIF a little bit, she can help me out too, but so the 66 wind turbine sites, they all showed up with zeros.
Yeah, and I was worked up about it because you know how you check and make sure everybody's stuff on there and it's not on there, but it says exactly on the paper that if it's not on there, it's a new district, and I built this district last fall, so there's no prior information on it. So that's why it's all zero, and that's for Mid-America. So, any other questions? The second thing I would like to talk about, I received a call last week from Pioneer Cemetery, and they were kind of wondering if they could have an advance on their taxes due to whatever reasons. Yeah, and I didn't know how that worked because they are their own levy, so I talked to the Dome, which is the Department of Management, said that it's kind of like general basic and general supplemental because they're on our budget and we set the levy for them. So if they need to have an advance, we could do a transfer. Now that's from the Dome. Now I also have a note into the private auditor to see how that works if we didn't budget for it. You know, if something happens and it's not paid back by June 30th of 2026, how that looks. So I'm just letting you guys know about this because we may have a resolution next week with this on there for the transfer. Any questions about that?
And the treasurer, I believe, is paying any money that he gets in early to that fund.
Yes, because they were telling me that so their biggest amount would have been right after the first collections at the end of September, first part of October. Right now, they get the extra coming in if there's anything, you know, delinquent or anything like that. So they're getting like 30 or 40. And, you know, they kind of went under new management and everything too. So they're just kind of wondering what their options are. And so we've been looking into it for them.
We'll see that next week if there's action taken.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, I got 9:13. We had scheduled CR Glass J. Staley. Perfect.
And then Kempson.
We have two individuals from that. So this goes back to, I've been working with Dave, our head custodian, to get somebody in mind to do maybe like an RFP for us or a spec. He reached out to these guys from Cedar Rapids, and these two individuals are going to present a little bit about them and what they could offer to Chickasaw County Window Courthouse Project. Yep, go ahead, sir.
Just packets of information. That one's a little out of order.
You got one for me?
I do.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
You want this up on the table?
It's up to you, however they'd like it. So, we were reached out to take a look at replacing all of your existing wood windows. And we brought a model with one option of an operable window, which we would call project-out. I think our goal is just ascertain exactly what it is you guys want to do with operables. I know there was some talk about saving some stained glass and such. So if we can get a better idea of what you want to do, we've given you kind of some product data for the window we would suggest for this particular application. Insulated glass, where these are non-insulated, much higher performing. And once we can sort of figure out what all you guys are looking for, tinted glass, things of that nature, we can put together a responsible RFP for you guys to take a look at.
And the packet of information that you currently have, it just shows the general description of the windows, the first set. Second, I believe, is the thermal performance. Second package. Yeah, that shows all the thermal performance. Then it shows the specific for the 1450 series. Last is the spec sections, just a generic spec section that you can actually use for asking for bids.
And for everyone's not familiar, it just kind of gives the performance, it gives the makeup, the finishes, things like that. So if you went to an architect or something, this is what they would issue to take a look at the various performance properties of what it is we would provide.
A little bit of back, if we can back up about yourselves and about your company.
Oh, sure.
Projects that you've done or.
Sure, so, CO Glass, I think it started back in the seventies. Yeah, seventies. And it was, for a while, it was third generation while Mark was there, Mark Blau. We're a glass and glazing contractor. Here recently, we've been acquired by, the Sterling Group. $18.4 billion in revenue, so they've brought a lot of resources to our availability. We were one of, I believe, 7 glass companies under the parent company, and now we're owned by a big conglomerate, which is Sterling Group, and we got purchased through Omni. Yep. So we're a glass and glazing contractor. We've done projects anywhere from, so we have a full service department, so from someone's window at their house for $200, and I think our largest contract right now is 4.5 million. We're doing the homemakers, so we do everything in between. Right now, our backlog this year is about 12 million, which is about 30% more than it was last year. So with the economy picking up and such, this is projects just like this. This doesn't necessarily pertain to SHPO, but we've done a lot of historical replacements, things like that. We do a fair amount of work with stained glass, which is my interest in making sure that we get that incorporated. That's some beautiful artwork there that we want to make sure it doesn't go by the wayside. But right now we have about 22 guys, I think, in the field. And from your time frame, we talked about whether we do it in phases, whether it's a remove and reinstall. There's a lot of flexibility there. Total duration 2 to 3 months, like we talked about. Can be a little bit faster, a little bit slower, but we can work it within your court cases and what have you to make sure. Tremendous amount of options as far as colors, glass makeup. I know there's talk with glass with blinds, all within possibility. Just kind of need to know what that scope is, then we can put that together for you.
Crank out, no crank out?
Sure, so there's several options. You have crank out, fixed, obviously, which is just that fixed. This is what they call a projectile, if you want to show them.
Yeah.
This is,
This one's
this is a projectile, yeah.
yeah.
And at the bottom, yeah, kind of tough with a smaller.
Yeah, it's probably that not.
It's just round because of, yeah.
But when it's in there, you just simply pull the cam handle and then it shuts.
Bends the bottom out, pulls back in. You can have screens on the outside. You can flip it upside down, screen on the inside. You can put a screen on the outside and hinge it in so that it pulls back in. Casements, again, not a problem. Double hung, single hung. There's a fair amount of option as to what you want for look and function.
I did mention some issues with safety, egress windows. Those are option too, or?
Those are optional. Depend if it is egress, that'll limit. You can't have an egress with a vent window, but for projectile, excuse me. But on the upper floors, there would be limit stops if need be, if that were a requirement. And again, casement, single hung, double hung, sliders. If you want to do sliders, I don't imagine that would be.
I'll bring up one thing. If you choose to do egress, we'll have to not make an equal bay because there's a minimum
Correct. Yeah.
width.
I think it's like 25 square feet you have to have for egress.
Yeah.
And that may be a little bit different. Sometimes the codes vary, but IBC is 25 square feet to be able to.
Yeah, they'll just get unequal lights.
Yeah. If they were required.
Can you explain the windows we have now are more of a brown tint on the outside?
So sure, those upper windows, the very upper lights actually have a brown tint in the glass. It's not a film, it's actually bronze colored glass. So imagine looking at a pair of sunglasses. If you go to some of the upper floors, the best way to gauge the differences is you look out the window, you look at a cloud up above and below, you'll see the difference. What that does essentially will take some of the glare and some of the energy and will absorb it in the glass instead of letting it through the glass. There was a gentleman we spoke with earlier. If the sun coming through is truly a problem, we could do an insulated aluminum panel that matches the frame color to prevent anything from coming through, but you still have your vision light down below. So there's some option there. We would strongly suggest a low E coating, which these don't have. Low E is low emissivity. It prevents the radiant heat waves from coming through the glass. So you can have a clear glass and not feel like you're in a microscope with the kids and the ants, right? So it magnifies the light coming through. This prevents that. It'll allow the light in so you get the full visibility, but it prevents the radiant heat waves. It reflects them back out into the opening. And if you ever stood side by side of one that had it and one that didn't, there's a substantial difference in the amount of heat that comes through that window. So these will be a lot more efficient than what you have. Glass with blinds, I know that was discussed. We can, just like that, they can be either tilt and lift or just tilt. Those are just tilt. It's a little different system now. They don't really do the gears anymore. It's cables, so it lasts quite a bit longer. You don't have the cranks and such that you have to worry about stripping out. There's nothing to strip out as long as that wire pulls, it'll function. Warranty, the finish warranty is 20 years on a painted product. On the glass, it's 10 years, just like any other commercial piece of glass. So if they were to fog or fail, the glass is at least covered for. It's a true window, so you can do everything. You can change all the glass. You do everything from the inside, so you don't have to get a lift if you ever had to change something or modify something. So.
You work with me or Dave, both of us, to get an RFP put together?
Sure.
Timeline, I guess, what do you need from the board to get that RFP?
So from the board, if you can tell us what you're looking for, and we can even do something where, to say, okay, this window with the blind is X, without the blind it's Y. So we kind of just need to know what options you're looking for, and then we can kind of present them on gross. You can get your order of magnitude. If everything fits in budget, then, dealer's choice. If there are certain things where you want vents and you don't want, or maybe you want double hungs and vents versus casements, what have you, just identify what it is you're after, and then we can start honing in exactly where we'll land.
By the way, are you familiar with the difference between double hungs, vents, and casements?
So this one is,
That's
a vent.
that's a vent.
Yeah, project out vents.
Casements are like what you have.
Yep.
And
They
then
hinge on the
obviously,
side with a crank.
double hungs are like a residential that you just simply lift up.
Well, so you'd have a single hung, the double hung, with both
Yeah,
sections. So maintenance wise, your vent's gonna be your lowest maintenance, longest longevity. Casements being the highest because of the cranks and the internal parts. Kind of somewhere in between, you have balances essentially on your sides with your double hungs and your single hungs. So,
Have you guys done any courthouses in Iowa?
sure.
We actually did the.
I see a dare.
Brevard, no, the.
Bremer County,
Was it Bremer County?
I think it was Bremer County.
We're currently doing Bremer County.
Sorry, yes.
Oh, we're currently gonna do that.
Yeah, we're doing that.
We did the one by,
There was one up north,
yeah, it was, west of Waterloo.
correct.
Can't-
This was a few years ago that we did.
Yeah, I can't even
We have a
remember.
Dare County in your booklet here, the Dare County Courthouse.
That may be from the manufacturer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
mostly
that would be from the
Oh,
manufacturer.
yeah,
We can certainly, when we give you our resume, we'll just include some of the courthouse projects that we've done. We did an extensive one out in Davenport. We replaced all the glass in there, so. Both Jay and I have been in the business, well, Jay longer than me, might have been in the business for 20 years, so we've
And
seen a lot of these projects.
some of the non-courthouse projects, like Galver Blue Door, we did that,
Yeah.
that curved wall with all the thin blades on it, we did.
LSB Tech Works.
LSB Tech Works.
Right in Waterloo, the old John Deere building, we replaced every one of those windows. I think they were all single hungs. There was some type of either single hung or double hung, but they were all operable, the giant skylight up above, we did that. So
And years ago, we did Sullivan Brothers.
Sullivan Brothers, yep.
Plexiglass all the way around the top of that.
So in the market, if you could speak about the timeline and how long out a project like this would take.
Sure, so typically, let's just say we bid it, we get the project, you guys send us the contract. Shop drawings around 8 to 9 weeks, we get samples, product data, all that, full submittal. You guys agree to it, something like this, it would be existing openings, so we would just come out and measure everything based off the shop drawings. Once you're released, you're about 12 to 14 weeks for production, maybe a week shipping, they're coming right out of St. Louis, so they're not too far. And then we start. I'll leave it there because depending on how you want to do it, it all depends on the scheduling but let's just say a crew of 3 guys can do 3 windows a day, 1 crew. If it's pull out, put back in, there's a lot of factors there that would determine how fast or how slow we would go on those. But I say middle of the road, you figure 3 units a day. And then depending on what you want to save and don't want to save, that all plays into it as well.
David, how many units do we got?
About 55, I think in total, yeah. Yeah, so you're looking maybe a 2 to 3 month project, give or take. Yeah, if someone were to come in and demo everything out and they were just open, we could jam through it in a few weeks, but it's a little bit more, it's quite a bit more complicated than that. And depending on what you save, the stained glass and such, there's some handle that people
The
up.
one thing that I might offer up is if there's one area in the building that we could remove a window and leave it out for a while so that we can confirm the conditions back behind it, that would probably be helpful prior to ordering it.
And if there's anything like specific in the courtroom, like Wednesday through Friday, they do probate, whatever it is, we'll make sure we schedule around there. One thing I will say, is we are gonna need some heavier equipment, on 2 sides of the building. It looks like we can reach the front, off that front sidewalk, and then around the side there, I think we can boom out enough to catch it. On the other side with the trees there, I'm not sure how far we can go, but certainly on the back side where all the statues and such are, so there'll be just something to keep in consideration. A 40 is, I think it's like 20 or 30,000 pounds, so there'll be some tire tracks. So just something to keep in mind as we go through. And keep it to a minimum, but if we have to be out there, we'd have to be out there to get to it, even just a caulk.
So I think our next step is we put in the budget for next year, some funds to do a project like this. This is why these 2 are here today, so thank you for coming. I guess what does the board want from myself or another member, or to work with Dave on getting some specs back to these individuals so they can get an RFP? You guys want to have another meeting next week, or?
Do you want a rough order of magnitude based off of what's here? What would help?
So I'm gonna jump in, sorry.
Go ahead.
Answer that, so I have some questions.
This is our county attorney.
So number one, I'm guessing you need to tell them where you need the egress, that's probably the most important thing.
Yep.
And I don't know who determines that, where those are needed, but that would be number one thing. Number two, and maybe you got some insight to this, maybe I missed this discussion earlier this morning, about how you handle other courthouses or other public buildings. So I guess to me, there's 2 different ways of doing this. Well, probably 3 actually. Option 1 would be they hire an architectural firm to design it. And then say, hey, we want X, Y, and Z in all these windows, preserve the historical nature of the stained glass, whatever it is. And then that firm helps put out the RFP and you're one of the bidders. Option 2 is, if you're willing to do it for us, or if we pay you or whatever, you help put together that RFP and you're one of the bidders on that. And I think probably the third option would be, as long as there are 2 companies that are interested in doing it, you could put together your own proposal for us. So my presumption is, from the way you talk, is that you got one window manufacturer.
There are others.
Yeah,
There are others, this was just one that we do a lot of work with.
so, I mean, I would be comfortable if the board found another company that was willing to entertain an offer for you to say, hey, we'll put together our proposal. Our proposal is gonna include switching out all the windows, preserving this, here's your three options, here's a, double hung, here's the punch out, here's with blinds, here's without blinds, you give them the options, and then all the options on the bill. If another company come up and do the exact same thing, then we don't need an RFP. I think as long as you have two companies that are each gonna make their own proposal to you and give you options, to me, that's an apples to apples comparison. And I don't know if there's another company to do that. We need to make sure, since it's public money, that we're having some sort of apples to apples comparison of how involved you are in that.
What I would say is we can develop so our proposal will have a scope letter out to say, this is exactly what we're doing. And then if somebody else were to put a number to it, they can, at least all of the different steps that they're including, and then they can give you some, you have comparable numbers. So we're willing to do that. Yeah.
Because like I told you guys before this morning, that none of us have window experience.
Yeah, so whatever you're comfortable, if you want a spec, we can have one written, we've kind of given you a generic one. You tell us what you want, and so to that, each one of those options, obviously, there was a different cost associated with it. The least being us setting things up and then having someone come up based off of what we've quoted. And the most expensive, obviously, hiring an architect to come in, being that it's pretty much a single scope.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't make a ton of sense, but that's whatever you're comfortable with.
I wouldn't put my recommendations up to the board, but I think either you prepare an RFP that we can distribute to some other companies, or have at least two companies come up and look at it, just like you would, and say, hey, here, we can put together a bid sheet for you, here's the options, and you have apples to apples.
Sure.
One of those two options are probably the most cost effective and the
Agreed.
easiest way to handle it.
Agreed.
That's up to them as to which one they wanna do, or what the cost might be for that, I have no idea. And I don't know, your competitors, if there's companies in this area of that size, we always try to do things locally. I don't know if there's a contractor locally that would say, hey, I'm willing to take on that project. And you said 3 windows a day for 3 man crew with 55 windows. I immediately thought, I don't know that anyone here locally is gonna wanna do that. I don't know. These guys have better sense for that. How we would make sure that we're allowing anyone who wants the opportunity to present a bid, so. That's why we have to be very cognizant of that.
And I think we need references too, to call our neighbors across Iowa and other Midwest states to see the product that these contractors have done. So
Right, and if you can give us a list of, you couldn't think of the name, but if you have a couple counties that you've done in the last
Oh,
several
yeah,
years,
no problem.
that would be good too, because then we can call them and say, hey, how did you do it? And then also, did you have other companies bid? If so, who are the companies? That would make it easier on our end. We can call those people and say, hey, we're doing the same project, similar project.
Right.
Are you willing to come up and take a look at it and give us a bid?
Yeah, so we bid against every one of them. It's been a competitive bid, yeah, for sure. So, yeah, not a problem.
So you guys wanna do more of a hard RFP, or do you
No, I
wanna
think
just?
I think we need to have one RFP that all contractors follow. We've done that road before, it's hard to compare apples to apples if we're just letting people.
Sure.
Um,
Give their own take on what they see and,
yeah,
Anybody else? Yeah. So I guess you want us to write a committee? Yeah, you guys want these guys to write it?
Yeah.
If they want-
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be
Just to
generic.
check this out, I think,
Yeah,
to do
yeah.
it, Do it, but.
And then you give a proposal, once, David, is it just me and Dave working on this to get the RFP ready, or do we need more input by the board?
You're just putting together what you're gonna send out to people, including them, to bid on.
Correct. Does the board want
Similar to what
someone?
we did with the electric projects, exactly the concept. Chuck put together the bid, he ended up getting the bid.
Correct.
But other people bid on the RFP that he put together. So if that's the path you want to go down, that's a similar path.
Do you happen to have elevation drawings of the building?
I would have to look, I bet there is some.
I would think there'd be something.
Yeah.
Just something to be able to reference back
That way they
to
can scale or.
northeast, southwest, and then, scale of it, yeah.
And I don't know, maybe there needs to be a conversation about what that scope of putting together RFP would take, how labor intensive that is, how detailed it's gonna be, and what the cost is gonna be. Because if, I wanna get ahead of ourselves, if we commit to that idea and then find out that it's gonna be more labor intensive than we wanted, or more of a cost, you may wanna just say, hey, if we can get 3 companies on up and say, hey, put in the windows, tell us what you propose. And give us options with the proposal, with blinds, without blinds, et cetera, et cetera. I think you satisfy your obligation from that perspective. And then maybe that's a conversation you need to have with them. after this meeting or at some point to figure out what that's gonna entail.
Any other questions? Like I said, this is the first start of this big project that needs to be done, we feel.
So time frame for the actual install, roughly, would that be 2026 or 2027?
I think we were hoping like install August through November 26th.
26, okay.
That's when the funds would be allocated for fiscal starting July 1st of 26 and ending June 30th. I guess I haven't heard, I mean, it's been in the public, I mean, it's one of our projects that we want to get done to accomplish. I haven't heard anybody against it, so. Gotta wait for a public hearing in April.
Yeah.
But after that, it'll be allocated in the budget to
Yeah.
them.
Just like I alluded to before with aluminum and prices and things, it's a good, to know when that's going to be, and then labor rates and things like that increase certain times of the year, so, yeah.
Do you guys want a committee, or do you want to just let me and Dave work something out and you guys see an RFP in a couple weeks?
That worked for me. I agree, Dave, want to do it, it's fine.
I don't know anything about windows.
That's the whole thing about this, is it's such a specialized deal that you really, it's whatever the board decides they want to do really in the end.
Well, I'm sure we're gonna have this discussion as a board, but I guess I have a couple questions is, are you seeing facilities like ours, you still using a lot of blinds, or are they going with slowly or completely all tinted glass, or?
It truly depends on the positioning of the sun and how things are hit and each individual, some people love the sun, some people.
Yeah, the only time I've seen the blinds, and it usually not integral blinds, they'll do it on first floor for privacy.
Yeah, that's something to keep in mind too, people, if you're working on
sensitive information.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's options, if you still want light to come through, we can always frost the upper light, so you don't get the direct sunlight, but it kind of glows, so there's a lot of option there. But as far as glass and blinds, there's always, anytime you have something mechanical, right, there's always that. They're still under warranty, but after that warranty, there's always the issue of if something does break, it's more expensive to fix, but it all depends on what you're looking for the blinds to do. They happen to go up on something this tall, be a little bit tougher, you gotta be able to reach all the way up to, but the tilt's down at the bottom, so they can just tilt just like you have, so it's kind of, there's a lot of options.
These ones have never been open, and I've been.
Yeah, I know some of them are stripped out, so and
What does they have?
No, the blinds, I've never had, I've
Yeah.
never seen them open, I've been.
but my suggestion is, the more working parts you have, like anything else,
Yeah.
the more they can go wrong. So if you're looking at it longevity wise, I think there's a ways to attain what you're after with minimizing the amount of moving parts.
Just an example, in the boiler room, is that the first story? The first story, because the boiler's in the basement, those are all crankouts.
There's no need for.
You can't even access that, so why pay for something that doesn't even function? Yeah.
So,
And the security thing too is if it's fixed, it's fixed, there's no forcing the window open to get in, so.
And if you choose just one crank out per
office,
office, something
Sure,
like that.
just something let the air.
Yeah, just decide which ones you want.
egress for safety, like on the third floor, one egress window per office.
I don't know that you can do it.
Well, again, with egress, you have to actually, you can't technically jump from a third floor and have that be okay. So there'd have to be some type of, stair, ladder or something like that. So, yeah, there'd have to be something for you, a landing for you to get on and then get down.
So then the egress would be more first floor, second floor?
First and second.
Yeah, first and second.
And then if there's unequal bays, then we just carry it to the fixed window up on third.
So everything matches the
Set
setting.
a match,
Yeah.
they'll have limit stops on third. There won't be limit stops on second or first.
If you want it to be operable, otherwise we'll just make the fixed glass match down below, so it looks like it's on purpose, yeah. And I'm assuming we're gonna try to keep the same aesthetic, if it's 2 bays, if it's 3 bays, if it's 4 bays.
So that's what keeps the outside looking.
Sure, I mean, however you'd like to do it, but we'll just assume matching what's there.
Any other questions? I mean, I thank you for the presentation. I think we learned a lot. And then Dave and myself will be working with you guys to
Yeah,
get our.
just reach out, whatever you guys need, product data samples, whatever.
All right, thank you. Any other questions before I leave? All right, thanks. Appreciate it.
You guys want us to leave that?
You guys want to leave it or?
It's up to you.
No, I don't.
Anybody got a small?
Yeah, anybody got a really small? All right, guys, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Excuse me, sir.
Is this your?
Joel's out, you want him next or me next?
We can do Ryan.
Okay,
If Jack might, yeah.
I'm sorry. You want me or?
We'll do Shaw real quick.
Say, might be quicker. Let's give you all these.
Yeah. Meeting with Ryan Shawver, Sheriff. Review and approve and authorize chair signature on 20 agreement for drive-through services for the cities of Bassett, Ionia, North Washington, Law.
Yeah, Elvis meetings tonight. No issues there, it's just the meetings tonight to get that approved, so we'll be back next week.
So these are all 2080 agreements. I have to take a roll call vote on all of them. So I don't know how you guys want to handle those for drive-through services. Because I'm doing this standalone.
Together,
I think we do them together, right, Dave? We do them separate. Same rate, different population.
You can, I guess, I prefer you do them separately as long as you can do it.
Just move off the agenda.
Objection or some issue with it.
Yep.
Just be safe.
So I guess we'll start with Bassett. Bassett 2080 is normal 2080 that we always see. It's a total of $779 for general law enforcement drive-through service at a rate of $17.30 per person.
Make a motion to approve and authorize chair signature in 2080 agreement, City of Bassett.
Second.
Motion by Steve, second by Scott to approve the 2080 agreement with the City of Bassett for fiscal year 26-27 for drive-through law enforcement service. Any discussion on Bassett? If not, roll call. Steve?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Isaac?
Aye.
Travis?
Aye.
Jake, aye. Motion is carried 5-0. Moving on to the City of Ionia then. City of Ionia is the same 2080 except for the change, I believe, of the amount. Their total sum is $3,910 for general law enforcement services at $17.30 for a population of 226 persons.
Make a motion to approve and authorize chair signature in 2080 agreement with City of Ionia.
Motion by Steve, second by Travis to approve the 2080 agreement in fiscal 26-27 for the City of Ionia for drive-through service. Any discussion? If not, roll call. Steve?
Aye.
Travis?
Aye.
Isaac? Aye. Scott?
Aye.
Jake, aye. Motion is carried 5-0. Next city is North Washington. Again, oh, by the way, these are all signed already by the cities.
Yes.
Page 3 here, total sum for North Washington is $1,938. Again, the same rate of $17.30 per person at 112 persons. Effective July 1st through June 30th, 27.
Make a motion to approve and authorize chair signature in 2080 agreement with City of North Washington.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Steve, second by Isaac to approve the 2080 agreement with the City of North Washington for law enforcement drive-through service for fiscal year 26-27. Any discussion? If not, Steve?
Aye.
Isaac?
Aye.
Travis?
Aye.
Scott? Aye. Jake, aye. Motion carried 5-0. Motion carried. And the last city for drive-through is Lawler. Page 3, total sum of $7,024. Same rate of $17.30 for a population of 406.
Second.
Motion by Travis, second by Steve to approve the 2080 agreement with the drive-through service of the City of Lawler for fiscal year 26-27. Any discussion? If not, roll call. Travis?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Isaac, Scott, Jake, Res 2080 has been approved. Elvis will be next week, like Chopper said. Two cities. On the agenda, it says review and approve and authorize chair signature on 2080 agreement for law enforcement with the city of Nashua and Fredericksburg. We got Fredericksburg right here on top. Total hours of 1,020. At the fixed rate of $76.50 per hour. Total cost of $78,030. It's just the hourly rate times the number of hours.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Travis, second by Isaac to approve the 2080 agreement with the city of Fredericksburg for law enforcement contracted hours for the fiscal year 26-27. Any discussion? If not, roll call. Travis.
Aye.
Isaac. Steve. Scott. Jake. Motion carried 5-0. The last law enforcement contract for hours is the city of Nashua. They have a total of 1,750 hours annually between July 1st and ending June 30th, 27 with the same rate of $76.50. Total amount is $133,875 for that fiscal year.
Did they lower their hours? So moved.
Is there a second on the city of Nashua's? Second. Motion by Scott, second by Steve to approve the 2080 agreement with law enforcement contracted hours for the city of Nashua at 1,750. Any discussion on Nashua's 2080? If not, roll call. Scott. Steve. Isaac. Travis. Jake. Motion carried 5-0. The last contract for next fiscal year is review and approve and authorize chair signature on 2080 agreement with the city of New Hampton for dispatch services. Item number 2, the sum of $64,149.84 for dispatch services delivered during the terms of fiscal 26-27 at a rate of $18.34 per person at the population of 3,494.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Travis, sorry, who seconded? Steve or Isaac? Okay. Motion by Travis, second by Isaac to approve the 2080 agreement with the city of New Hampton for dispatch services for next fiscal year. In discussion? If not, Travis? Isaac? Steve? Scott? Jake? 2080 has been adopted.
Once you sign those, Jake, then I'll come over later and sign them. We'll get a file with the state. Make copies of it. You give each city a certified copy
Okay,
after it's gone downstairs and then uploaded.
okay, and then so you do downstairs,
You have a recorder and then it gets uploaded.
you file it with the state yourself, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then you give me a copy.
Have these all been put in his budget for revenue?
Yes.
Okay.
I include that all in there, yeah.
Perfect. Any other questions? We don't have a department update, but
This afternoon we'll get one.
this is that to move up, yes.
I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
There's a bill which we approved it already in there for zips, for ignition, for battery draw or something.
Yeah.
Any of that be covered under warranty?
No, 'cause it's all the aftermarket stuff, and for some reason, this one just started developing a battery drain after 2 days, it would be completely dead. We've done this with several vehicles like this. It's just easier to go up there and put in the solenoid switch, the ignition shuts off, it shuts everything off. I've got one on mine, KJ's got one on hers, Steven's got one on his, it's just, I don't know, this vehicle's a 19, it's never had an issue, and all of a sudden it just developed one. So instead of just having a tech come up here and try to trace it back, it's just simple to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, electronics take a lot of juice.
Oh, yeah.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
We'll do Chad here. Conservation Director Chad Umple, good morning, Chad. Got a list of stuff. We'll just go down the line, hopefully. Landfill update.
Sure, good morning. Yeah, a lot of stuff on the agenda here this morning for me. Wasn't up here last month, so, just a lot of moving parts behind the scene, a lot of things finally, getting finished up. So landfill wise, obviously, we've continued to monitor that leachate, working with Todd, HLW. We've got one more month of sampling. We're gonna take April's numbers. And then, there's a 45-page document that they put together. The first 6 or 7 pages is kind of the key ingredients. I don't know, did that?
I don't think it came, I got a copy if somebody wants to see it.
Okay,
I printed
yeah,
out the
otherwise-
first 7 copies.
We'll just shoot forward, but the balance of that is maps.
Yeah, this has not been approved yet. I mean, he's gonna send it out April, or did he send it out?
Yeah, no, he has not. We're waiting and we're gonna actually collect our numbers from April and put those in there as well. So that gives us 4 years of numbers. We started this process in April of 22. So basically to sum this up, it's just a document, basically telling the DNR that we would like to close that leachate system off and what the process is that we've gone through to collect the data. So then we expect probably a year or 2 of monitoring. The big thing is monitoring the size of those cells to see if we have any seeps coming out the side, any leachate or anything like that. That would give them the thought that we should continue to draw leachate out of that system. I personally, again, this isn't my area of expertise, but just looking at our numbers and the data from the past 4 years, I don't know that it affects, what we're doing affects a whole lot of anything. I think Mother Nature does way more than we do as far as the water table and some of that stuff in that system, because I remember for sure that system was put in like 86, I think, 86, 89, something like that. So anyways, we're hopefully gonna move forward with the next process to close that, and then again, there'll be a bunch of monitoring, and then hopefully at that point in time, after that next step, if they allow us to go to that step, they'll just say, okay, we can be done with it, get on your biannual engineering inspection and go that route. So hopefully.
So are we just gonna plug that line at the collection box, and if they're gonna monitor it, we never put any valves in shutting those lines off, so.
Right, in his proposal, I read that he's gonna put some caps on some of those, so it doesn't drain in the drain tile.
Okay.
Yeah, potentially, and that would probably be after we monitor it, you know, there's part in there as well where I don't know whether we completely remove the tank or, you know, there's obviously this concern that doesn't sit open or I mean, we lock it at this point in time, but right, they wanna make sure that threat or that danger is eliminated as well. So however that process
Well,
proceeds.
that's what I'm asking is, as long as there's tile there and there's rain falling, it's no different than a field tile, it's always gonna run.
Right. So the thing is this tile all runs to this collection, this leachate tank that we're removing it from. And at this point in time, as far as I'm aware, we've never had it come over the top or come out the top of that tank. So it's not coming out of the tank. So does that make sense as well, right? Like I get it. And if you look at some of our numbers from sometimes when we actually draw the tank down, we'll have some numbers sometimes on those wells will go up just slightly. And I think that's because then the water starts to move and then it kind of changes how things are acting out in the cells itself. So I haven't been able to find any patterns, but I'd be happy to let anybody look at the data if they want to. And it is in that report as well.
Like I said, the report has not been submitted yet.
It has
to the
not,
DNR.
it has not. So, do we need approval from you?
I
This
would
board probably before it
sometime.
gets sent out?
Yes.
So should we put that on there, maybe come back next month?
April, May, once you get your last reading.
Right,
In
because
this,
I will shoot that to Todd then and say, hey, once you get the final, could you send it over?
because in the conclusion, I'll just read item number 8. It is recommended that the water leachate collection and transport case cease, and that monitoring the tank level in the 5-year has been continued until April 28. So, you know, this engineering firm is staying, still do that until April 28. And then at that time, hopefully DNR will grant full covenant and send some of those tasks that we've been doing cease.
And at that point in time, then would be when we could potentially remove that tank or however we want to proceed, fill it in or whatever and move forward with not having to. I mean, we're always gonna have to have that biannual engineering inspection, but the goal is to shut this down so we don't have that weekly and monthly, fees there, so.
And, you guys will get a copy, but like I said, this talks about, it's a very in-depth packet of the last, it looks like the landfill was closed in '86, roughly, and the cap was put on in 1998. But it's all spelled out here, and hopefully the DNR can grant the covenant fully.
Whenever you get the final report ready this spring, can copy that too.
Sure.
I can file in my office.
Sure. Yeah, I probably had the original covenant, I suppose, and
I have all the original stuff.
perfect.
The landfill still has, 338,000 on it. We made a resolution, 2 years ago already, to keep it above 300,000, so still enough funds in there, I feel, to get us to the point where we wanna be at in 28, so. Any other questions on the landfill? You guys need any department update? Anything, Chad, that?
Just real quickly, did have weed commissioner conference last month, went down to that, so everything's kind of status quo there. A couple of things that we're gonna approve here, this timber management plan, so why some of this is a little bit confusing, not only for probably yourselves but myself as well. We have a big seedling planting that we wanna do on 22 acres of timber, so that we can get them in this spring, so that we get a year of growth on those seedlings, and then we'd like to do a selective harvest next year, and then we'll have some follow-up and cleanup work the following year. So it's a 3-year project. Plus the funding has got to be spent by 2029, so, which is why I'm trying to get it done in this budget. The other thing there is the state hasn't officially released those funds yet, so I can't accrue any invoices until that date has come. So I'm trying to juggle several different balls here and make sure everything's lined up so that the day they approve it, we can go. So that's why things are a little bit back and forth on that, but we've got some stuff that I'm trying to get approved so that I can get that funding ready to roll when we get to that point. I don't really have a whole lot else. We are working on the campgrounds. I'll go over that before we get into the rest of it here. We have 20 sites set up online, ready to go to take online reservations. They're kind of scattered throughout the campground, so we're trying to make that transition to be able to take, accept cards, get away from some of the cash and checks. Don't know where that'll take us. But we got 20 sites online for Airport to Split Rock. We're not doing a reservation system, but they have what they call an InstaPay. So you can scan a QR code at the electrical box, and that takes you to our website. That then allows you to pay by card, and then goes right into all of the good stuff that we're still working out with Sheila and Treasurer to make sure everything jives down there. So haven't had any huge bugs yet, but we just have some processes that we're trying to work through and get figured out. So I'm sure I'll mess a few things up along the way. Taking credit cards is a little bit new for our department, but so that's going well. The Conservation Board, we had to get rid of a couple policies. We had a 7th night discount if you were paid in upfront, and we did have a veterans discount that we needed to remove. They weren't super excited about that, but because of how everything works online and different fees, and we just needed a straight fee per night across the board to kind of streamline everything. They also approved the agreement between Tim Riley for the groundskeeper position out at Airport Lake again, coming up this season. So we're grateful for that. Obviously, that saves this whole day of mowing and stuff out there. An exciting thing that has happened last fall, we partnered with Choose to Include organization in the county. They submitted a couple grants. They picked up 50, they were awarded both. We just found out last week they were awarded both grants. So we have $15,000 there. What we're going to do is we're going to take, I believe, site 17 at Airport Lake. Basically, we're going to pour a bunch of concrete around it. We've already have a pad there, but we're going to put a nice parking pad on it. We're going to pour, I don't even remember what it is, 550 square foot pad, include a fire ring, an 88 compliant fire ring, grill, picnic table. And then that will also have a sidewalk that connects to the restroom facility. So basically, we'll have a much more ADA compliant campsite out at Airport Lake. And again, that will be using those funds that they have acquired through those 2 grants. So we're pretty excited about that. That's something that I think will do well. And that one then that site will be added. That's not a site that is currently on our reservation system, but obviously we would put that one, make that one reservable if somebody wanted or needed that site. So kind of a fun thing that we're gonna be able to do or hopefully get going here this spring. And as far as I'm aware, and this may be for David as well, but since it's their money, their grants, and I'm just okaying and kind of foreseeing, they can go out, they can get their contractors, as long as I'm like, yep, that's where I want the concrete, so on and so forth, bidding and all that stuff, that's on them, correct?
You're not spending public money.
No public dollars, it's the $15,000 that they generated through their grant writing and their process. Like I said, the only thing I've got in it, or the public has in it, is my 2 cents on what and where. And,
Very board, and you should be aware of what they're doing.
Yeah, right, correct, so.
Other than that, no.
What about, ADA push buttons for the doors?
We don't have anything on there like that, but that could be part of this process, right? I mean, I think those are fairly simple to put.
Be careful.
Yeah, you better be careful.
Say that out loud.
Need some kind of,
Smack me.
need some
I
kind
think
of,
I'm getting over the limit here.
need some power source.
Yeah, right, when we do have power in the restroom and stuff like that, so if that, would be a really good thing to look at, I didn't even think of that, so thank you for that. Cause I obviously, when you.
I hate to advertise for something and then they get there and it's like.
Yeah, no,
How do I
absolutely.
get the door open?
Absolutely. Right, and I would anticipate having potentially enough funding for that. I would have to see, we estimate those things high, and who knows if somebody donates a part of that project, so. And we do actually have a family that has a young man that uses a chair that camps out there on a fairly regular basis, so. And again, hopefully we expand that, and then with the facilities they have here in town as well, so could be a great partnership, so we're really excited about that.
Is there online reservations, is it online only?
So you can reserve it online, but what we have is a 0-day registration allotment. So meaning there will be a QR code at the campsite. So it's gonna be, some of this we're gonna have to help train our clients, but when you get there, you scan the QR code and that takes you to that website online. And that tells you whether it's reserved or not. And then if not, then you can book it from that day 2 weeks out.
That's what I'm wondering, is how I know, if I did look online, I show up, how do I know that?
Yeah, because that site now is cashless, right? That's kind of how we're doing that, because you can't show up and pay cash, and then all of a sudden Sheila decided she wanted to camp out there Friday night, and it's not in the system, and she reserves it at home, drives out, and you're like, well, I already paid for this site, cash is in post, so a lot of those things working through, yes, it seems simple, but.
Well, that's what I'm just saying, if I pull in, there's 7 empty lots, and I want to use one, how do I know it's reserved?
Right, so, and then that keeps us from having to babysit reservation signs, right, going out there, and then if you do that, then you have to shut it off on Monday, because we're not running out every day of the week to say, oh, this one is now reserved, and then if doing it that way, if nobody has it reserved on Friday, you can't book it then, right, because we've already closed that site on Sunday or Monday prior, so it'll be a little bit of, and before we jumped into this process, we talked with Camp Host, and Tina was very willing to help walk us through this and help train our customers, but again, the counties that have done it, they're like, you just do the whole thing. Don't even mess around with doing partial. I'm still old school, I like cash, so I couldn't do that, but they said you'll go cashless the whole campground in a short period of time, so I still like giving people options, so yeah. Holler at me if you come up with anything, as I'm sure there'll be some bugs for us to work out. One other comment I do have that I don't think we'll discuss on the next projects is, if any of you have had another issue or two at Bypass Basin with parking on the side of the road.
I just saw a bunch of cars parked on that highway, so.
Sure.
I didn't call
The signs are back up.
Yeah.
Well, so what had happened here recently, they've cut the fence and they were driving down through the ditch and actually physically parking on our side of the fence. So, I know, right? Anyways, so talked with law enforcement, Mark Warlander, conservation officer for the area, has been great, been kind of keeping a little bit more of an eye on that area for us. talk with get the DOT, getting the fence fixed and stuff. So I know I've been dragging my feet on that project on purpose because of the whole carbon pipeline and some of that funding, but I'm get through a bunch of this stuff here, and I think maybe this summer we need to look at trying to push that driveway and get that parking lot closer to that north pond, because it always never fails. I get a nice call Saturday or Sunday morning from somebody's doing. But anyways, I just wanted to let you know that yes, we've had another, I know Steve has talked to me a couple times on that property and stuff, so we're aware of it, we're working on it, we're trying to weigh our options as far as that goes.
It's just a comment, who's paying for the fence?
The state, the DOT fixing it for us. So, it's that, you know what I mean, that whole wishy-washy, who, what, this, so they were kind enough, great enough, they're gonna get the fence taken care of for us, so. But yeah, we need to try and probably move forward now and get some other stuff done, but.
Do you think moving forward, is your department gonna move snow then, so they can go ice fishing?
So this is a delicate conversation, right? So we do try, if we can, we try to keep Airport Lake, Split Rock, Ring Neck, which isn't huge. It's mainly keeping the big windrow out of the parking lot. We try and keep those parking lots accessible in the wintertime so that people can use those facilities because they get used a ton, right? So historically here, the past few years, we have been trying to do that. Now, airport can get plugged up. You know, you get to a point in the season where we're not moving it with a one-ton pickup truck and a blade. So we haven't gotten to that point at bypass because we did get the driveway extended. We got the parking lot up to the gazebo last year. So we're moving towards that, in that direction. But yeah, that's a question, right? I don't know how to answer that 100%. We will do our best as long as we can until the winter, Mother Nature again decides that it's not worth it, I guess. So that'll be the next thing, right?
Yeah.
So they all get these fancy sleds that pull their stuff out there anymore, but so about 3 foot of snow maybe. That's really about all I've got as far as just general department updates. I can chew on any of that stuff that you want as we go down through or explain it any better.
All right, moving on to the agenda items then, is discuss storage building, since we did move some county revenue funds into a project for cold storage. Myself and Chad have been working last 3-4 weeks on some specs, some drawings, location. I think the board did get some location maps that,
I just got it.
yeah. So there's some newer ones here that the engineer's office has assisted myself with. Chad can explain the 2 smaller ones that he got from Builder's First Source. I'm just gonna pass it around. These are very tentatively. Anything with your board discussion on location?
Yeah, we did discuss a bit of location. Obviously, we didn't decide anything at this point in time. I don't know that anybody has a spot that they feel that would be any better. Does that make sense? I mean, I'm not a super big fan of necessarily having to put it there, but it makes sense there. And the reason I say that, it's an aesthetic thing, right? We have this beautiful park that we do quite a few field trips. It gets used quite heavily. We have this beautiful shelter we just put in. It's definitely gonna affect the aesthetics and the natural feel that you're gonna have out there. Having said that, with the shower house, we've got that transformer, everything is literally gonna be 50 feet away. Cost wise, there is some benefit for events on the weekends with that gravel area in front of the building. It would help greatly on parking, things like that. So there would be some benefits for having that building there as well. We don't have a whole lot of other options. Talk with some landowners. Nobody's really interested in selling anything around there, which is fine. I completely understand that as well. So this is what we got to work with. And I think this is our best bet. Talking with Jake, the staff, the conservation board. So it's kind of where we're at this point in time.
So, yeah, what we're looking for is a 60 by 120 building with 3 overhead doors, a position on the south side. Benefit of the sun melting the snow, you would have crushed rock in front of it. They can get back to the back pond. shift the driveway a little bit potentially, to get closer to the, panel box and or water also. I did work with Eliza and Roman on these drawings a little bit. They did submit to me all the specs when they put their cold storage building in. I think that was back in 2022 maybe already. I guess what is the next move for a July 1st start of this potential project? Get as much as we can get done now with the current funds and then moving into accepting a bid, say in June, so they can start putting the post in July. The engineer's office has gave me copies of their bid tab, their code storage spec. They, how much of that do you guys want us to use? So we don't have to go off for an architect. I mean.
And again, I would be the first one, if anybody has any 2 cents on this, right? I mean, you just discussed windows, and it's like, I think I heard the comment, I'm not an expert in windows, I get it, right? Like, there's so many ways to do some of this stuff, like, the door placement we've discussed, and door widths and heights, and should it be an 18-foot building, sidewall, should it be 16-foot sidewalls? 20 was thrown out, I think that's a bit high on that. But anyways, I mean, if anybody has 2 cents or a nickel they want to throw in on this, please let me know, because now's the time to do it while we're in this stage. And the last thing I want to get is get it done and be like, oh, why didn't I think of that? And I get it.
That'll happen anyway.
I know it will, right? I mean, I'll change my mind after it's done. It's just the way I like to process things. But again, we're just thinking a simple electrical panel over there. Maybe a frost-free hydrant that we would run inside the building, so at least in the summertime, we could fill water tanks, wash equipment, stuff like that over there. I think the goal was, now correct me if I'm wrong, we would try and get the shell up, the dirt work. That's one thing I will comment, talking with one of my board members is pretty good at moving dirt. And he just said that, that price sneaks up on people. And again, I have no idea of what it's gonna cost to get that dirt work done. We do still have some trees in the way yet. I haven't given the green light to go until obviously I have the funding. The last thing I want to do is chop down some trees out there and then I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to put a building up there. But so anyways, there's some other things like that, like dirt work. I don't have a lot of, knowledge on. I know it's going to take some moving of some dirt and stuff like that, but we wanted to get that done, the shell in, and then maybe come back next year and put some concrete in it. Was that the two?
If it goes over the set aside $200,000, we don't know, right? So I can go back to the public document here. This building was 3 local bidders bid it, and I went to JB Building Service for $153. That was fully insulated doors, all concrete. They went with 8 overhead doors. But this was back in 2020, they went for a building size of 50 foot by 150. Ours is looking at a 60 by 120, with only 3 overhead doors, not 8. Prices probably went up since 2020. We can all assume that. But this was fully 6-inch concrete, 4,000 PSI, drain boxes inside the building. Probably a lot more electrical than what you might need compared to what they have, So that's our comparable. Our comparable is a 2020 cold storage building at the secondary road check.
Did they have, is that one got concrete floor?
It does.
It does, okay. So.
And that total bid was, like I said, that total bid was $153,000. We should have done one in 2020, not knowing.
Well, if I had funds, I could have done it.
What's the number for, we have to hire an architect? Don't we have to hire an architect or something that's a certain number?
Above a certain price, I
Yeah,
think.
public bids.
Yeah.
No, I don't, I'll look, but I don't know if this is a requirement for architect. It's just if you're over a certain threshold, then you have to make sure that you're getting public bids. Yeah, public. You have a public hearing if you're gonna spend certain amount of money.
That's
Right,
That's what I'm,
So yeah, like again, another project that's just trying to help you guys out, you know, with the windows. Now this one, with next year's fiscal money. Anything else for Chad on your building, cold storage?
I guess I just look at the height of it. You get a lot of extra storage area, the taller you get for the money.
Yeah. Right, so again, these are
And
some
you
of
can't get that steel and camouflage now, so.
we could maybe see if we could paint a mural on the side of that or something like that, you know. The guys all hate it, but I'm like, it'll be conservation brown, they're tired of conservation brown, I get that way sometimes as well, but right, our goal when people pull into our areas isn't to be like, oh, what's that giant building? But anyways, yeah, I guess we'll just keep working in that direction and try and get some stuff more cleaned up, and I haven't had a chance to go look at Roman Secondary Roads' building, but, so yeah, our goal would be to have, and again, I don't know, right now we had 3 20-foot doors, would we be better off to go with 4 16-foot doors, and I don't know price-wise, is that the same, is it more?
So their door size is 16 wide by 14 high. They have a 16-foot inside clearance. And I think what we thought was an 18-foot inside clearance.
Yeah.
So I can print this off. It's a
So-
one-page, very.
Some of
easy
those
spec.
things, again, I don't have the, you know, like you said, they'll always be like, excuse me,
Because this
why
one
the hell did I do
includes,
it that way? But, you know, hindsight.
this one include a gutter system. Just so you don't have water coming off.
Sure.
I just think it's another work in progress to let the board inform. We're trying to get something done in May,
Yeah.
you know, after the public hearing. Any questions on the cold storage building? Acknowledge purchase of a 26 Chevy 1500.
Okay, so the Conservation Board did approve last week at the board meeting, those specs that we handed out, whatever, 6 weeks ago or whatever. So assign that, got that turned in burn, so they're working on that purchase of that new pickup truck.
Your board approved?
Yep.
Is there a motion to acknowledge per the purchase policy?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Travis, second by Steve, to acknowledge the purchase of a 2026 Chevy 1500 for the County Conservation Department. Give a total amount, Chad,
Is this the total on that?
the 44,900.
Yeah, that $44,971.50.
Oh, there it is, okay.
Any discussion on the acknowledgement? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, any opposed, motion carried. Acknowledge of an AR sandbox purchase of $14,449.15 with the $10,000 coming from Natural Center Fund balance provided by the Friends of Chickasaw County Conservation.
One last thing on the pickup truck, they did also approve the transfer of the Dodge, the 2012 Dodge to Department 51
General Service.
General Services. So once the new vehicle comes in, we'll get that switched over to Dave. So
Okay, so you have actual minutes for that, right?
I will.
Yeah,
I
so when
will,
I get the
yes.
minutes, then we'll put it, acknowledge it here.
Sure,
But I do have one note here. I was gonna go back to that pickup too.
sure.
Could we, can you help Dave clean that current truck when you deliver it to 51?
Oh, before we bring it up here? Yeah, we'll get her cleaned up for you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay,
At least
so,
cleaned out.
yeah, no, we'll get her cleaned up good. So this AR sand table, this is all part of that grant system that we had done last winter that, been working through. We had a nice article in the New Hampton paper, so thank you, New Hampton paper, and crew. Our Draw Live system that we had put in out there, this is part of that process to get more hands-on, interactive, projects and displays out there. So what it is it's a standalone system. It's an augmented reality is what the AR stands for, sand table. So as the kids dig through that, different, depending on what you have the setting on, whether it's creating rivers or canals for ants and stuff to crawl through, different things like that. So that's what that is from. And then the balance of the 10,000 is coming out of the Nature Center Fund. So again, non-tax dollars and then the friends will pick up the balance on that. But basically, that's what that is.
Is there a motion to acknowledge the AR sandbox purchase?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Scott, second by Isaac to acknowledge the purchase of this AR sandbox per the purchase policy. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, anybody opposed, motion carried. Next one is the acknowledge of the HW dock for $12,994.82. The CCCB did approve the $8,000 from that donation.
Yeah, so again, just cleaning up that process. The dock is in, we don't have it, but it is down in Nashville at our vendor. So they approved the 8,000, I'm assuming it was in your claims, then the balance of that, and then again, just per purchase policy, it's over 10,000, so I'm here to.
Yep, perfect. Is there a motion to acknowledge?
Make a motion to acknowledge.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Steve, second by Scott to acknowledge the HW dock for the amount of $12,994.82 to be approved. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye, anybody opposed, motion carried. Next one is acknowledging the seeding planting agreement for $11,025 to plant the seedlings at the Gilmore Wapsie area.
So again, this one is part of that Forest Resiliency Grant program that we're working on, that we got that $100,000 grant funding for, that I'm trying to get those seedlings planted this spring. So the Conservation Board, if I can get the final approval and funding, has approved, we'll move forward with that project here, hopefully in the next month and a half or so.
Acknowledge the agreement for $11,025 purchase policy.
So moved.
Motion by Travis, second by Scott to acknowledge the seedling planting agreement for $11,025.
So do you have an actual agreement there? Cause all I got is a seedling.
So that will be the next one that they'll approve, but yes, I do have the
Do you
bid.
mind if I have a copy of that?
I
Just to
surely
put
can
with
get
it? Okay,
Surely
that's all I
can get
need.
you a copy of it. I have, yeah,
Thank you.
bid specs and.
Any discussion on this motion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye, anybody opposed, motion carried. The last one is acknowledge the seedling order from the Iowa State Nursery for the $10,350. That's the invoice that was in our packet.
Yeah, that's the one, and again, that's just the seedlings that we wanna try and get planted if we get the paperwork all to work out, so.
Motion to acknowledge that over the 10,000.
Second.
Motion by Isaac, second by Steve to acknowledge the seeding order from the Iowa State Nursery, amount of $10,350. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye, anybody opposed, motion carried. Thanks, Chad.
Yeah, thank you, again, it's been a lot of moving parts the last few months, and sometimes things all kind of come together at once, so that's some of that stuff
You
works.
seem very organized, thank you.
Well, I try, like I said, it's just, sometimes you forget stuff, so, again, if anybody has any comments or any thoughts on that building, please reach out, I would love to hear it now versus, after I get it done, so, I'm more than willing to listen to any 2 cents on that, but thank you for that.
I looked over your site, yeah, you don't have much choice.
There's not a lot of, yeah, we don't have a lot of options there, right, so, and it'll be good, we need to do something, right, and again, the other thing is moving forward, then hopefully we can get that building removed up there, to get that leachate system shut down, I mean, to me, we just opened up another 40 acres of public hunting ground and habitat, and, you know, price of land, I mean, that's a $400,000 acquisition we just gave basically back to the taxpayers, so I think that's a win-win-win all the way around, so, and the DNR has already told us that, you know, they like to upcycle those properties, and that's one of those things that fits in that window, so.
If anybody has an issue with it, building, they should look at the other building.
Right, again, and I don't think we're trying to build Cadillac here. I think we're trying to get by and piece some things together and do what we need to do, so, and get out of there. Joel can take over, but thank you again. It's been, like I said, it's been a good process. Budget wise, are we getting close to, I don't know where you're at as far as finalizing that?
Yeah, we'll give an update at 1 o'clock.
Okay, so
today,
the
but
department
I
head
think,
meeting.
Well, just back to that pickup, do you have a delivery date on that?
So they had said 12 weeks when originally, so I asked when I dropped that off last week and they would get it started. They said sometimes it's earlier. I mean, if they have it there on the lot ready to go, it might just be a matter of getting it, in a truck, getting it up here. So as soon as we can, we'll get with Dave and get it swapped out and get that handled. So yeah, again, thank you for that. And again, like, Dave, as far as working with us on that, I mean, that's pretty incredible individual, in my opinion, to have working for the county and the taxpayers, be like, oh yeah, I'll take your used truck. I mean, instead of, right, I mean, how many people are gonna be like, I'll take that used one, I want a I want a new one, so I think that says a lot for him and what he does for the taxpayers in the county, so.
131,
yeah.
134, so should I say.
I thought we had a claim issue.
All right, now,
Now,
all right. Just thought I got through the fire alarm and I thought I was gonna get pulled back in.
What was it under?
That's it, 131 then.
I think I'm good.
I didn't take it wrong.
Okay.
Did you guys have total claim amount of
I'll shoot you that.
124, 131?
Yeah, that's what I got.
I just have a copy.
That's got taken wrong.
I just want to double check.
Make sure before I stamp it, so,
Thanks, Scott. for checking.
yeah, 124, 131.74.
Yeah, okay, thank you. All right, moving on to EMS Director Joel Knutson, good morning. Looks like we got a couple resignations. So the first one is approved resignation of, is it Callie Hartson? Part-time RN effective March 5th, 26. Did she give a notice?
She did, Sheila's got both of the email.
Can I give this to you?
I don't think so.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh,
But, yeah, you can make them. Or,
Yeah, Sheila's got both the intents from both of the employees.
I just know per the handbook, it says they're supposed to give them a written notice. So.
Yeah, we thank them both for the time they gave us. Life circumstances changed, they both got busy. Callie, her husband started a family. The second one, Tammy, she started her own business. Just family comes first and that kind of stuff. And so, like I said, we thank them both for the time they gave us.
Perfect. Is there a motion on the first one? Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Travis, second by Isaac, to approve the resignation of Callie Hartson, part-time RN from the EMS department effective March 5th, 2026. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carried. Again, thanks for, like Joel said, echo that. Next one is approved resignation for Tammy Prius, part-time EMT, effective March 2nd, 2026.
Second.
Motion by Travis, second by Steve, to approve the resignation for Tammy Prius, part-time EMT, effective March 2nd, from the EMS department. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, anybody opposed? Motion carried. Review and approve hire of Jason Bierman, part-time CPR/driver at the rate of $13 per hour, effective March 16th, 2026.
Yeah, so these two that are on the agenda today, both are CPR certified. Jason has his EVOC training through another department. Both have passed background check. A CPR driver. So a little breakdown of what we have for staffing currently with the two resignations that were accepted today. Total of 38 staff members, 17 ALS, 15 BLS, and 6 drivers. Of that breakdown, 2 of the drivers are in Fredericksburg, one of the BLS providers is in Fredericksburg and one of the ALS providers is in Fredericksburg. So in reality, that gives us 4 drivers for New Hampton. Bringing these 2 drivers on today will help more with our coverage in losing the 2 that we lost. I mean, the drivers are kind of a no-brainer. They're the cheapest employee that you get per hourly wage. They're only ever paid when they're on a call, and then their backup wage, $3 an hour. I think 1 for sure, maybe 2, have some aspirations to maybe take their DT in the future. So this is a good way to get their feet wet.
Is there a motion to approve the hire of Jason Bierman, part-time CPR driver?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Steve, second by Isaac to approve the hire of Jason Bierman, part-time CPR driver, $13 an hour, effective March 16th, 2026. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carried. Second one is review and approve hire of Raven Hirsch, part-time CPR driver at the same rate, $13, effective the same date, March 16th. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll move. Second.
Motion by Steve, second by Scott to approve the hire of Raven Hirsch, part-time CPR driver / driver, $13 an hour, March 16th effective. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion is carried. Next thing, Joel, is your conduct an employment performance evaluation like your contract says. I don't know how you want to start this off. I got a couple questions, but
Yeah, no, I can, and some of it will bleed into the department update too, just some pretty exciting things that we've got going on for the next near term. As far as employee yearly review, some things we've accomplished over the last year, staying up on all of the HR quote unquote stuff with employee reviews, employee perspective survey, letting our membership guide us in how we're doing as a department, putting the needs of our staff forward and how we kind of guide our policy. Myself, my contract says 30 hours weekly or 60 hours per pay period. When you run the numbers, I'm averaging about 43 hours a week, give or take. So I'm more than meeting that. Budgetary, being cognizant of our budget. Current budget through February, we've used 38% of our current fiscal year budget. We have 38% remaining of our current fiscal year budget. And then on the revenue side, we've brought in 52% of what our current budget is as well. So doing well in that respect, trying to be cognizant of our taxpayers, of our budget. Next year's budget, should you approve the budget that is before you, we did see a slight year over fiscal year increase, partially in anticipation of this new ambulance that's coming in. And then with the grant funding that we get, we have to put it down that we can spend it, even though it comes back on the backside. So that makes that look a little bit like we've had a bigger increase. As far as education of our employees, I mean, we're partnering with the first responders in the county to do a lot of combined joint training, trying to provide our EMS providers with all the education hours they need locally. I guess we'll talk a little bit about some grant funding that I've gotten accomplished. So we're notified last week of our community foundation grant. It was $3,300 for some equipment, better containment system, or a better, on our ambulance cots, we usually just use blankets. This is more of a canvas cover to help keep our patients warm in the wintertime and protected and contained on the cot. So that was really great from Community Foundation. The one that's a little bit more exciting was just notified this morning. We have been approved for a $5,000 grant through Region 2 Emergency Preparedness. The part of this grant, though, is it could be up to $11,000 total. And we'll be able to purchase a Hamilton T1 ventilator, which is getting to be industry standard for ventilators. It has pediatric capability, it has lung protective availability, it has high flow, which for respiratory patients, it's huge. We'll be able to purchase a roughly $20,000 ventilator for $8,000 in some of our own money, and we'll just fundraise dollars for that. So that's a pretty big deal. A grant that we've been working on for a couple of years, finally got to see it come through. So we know we're approved for the first $5,100. It could be up to $11,000 and some change, just depending on towards the end of the fiscal year if all of our region partners use all of their funding or not, which they typically don't. So we're expecting to see a little bit more come in on that. So pretty exciting stuff on with those. Otherwise, station projects that we've got going on. Once the ground firms up a little bit, getting crash protection put in around the generator, that was, we didn't get it done for the ground froze last fall. So still planning on doing that ourselves. We've got the bollards, they're in the shop, we just need to put them in the ground. And then the insurance inspection coming up April 1st, getting everything tidied up and squared up with that. So changed a few of our processes just operationally on how we do monthly inspections on the trucks and that kind of stuff, medication and everything, but it's working very well. Our crew's been great. I always, when everybody's, says like ambulance service is going well, it's because of the crew. I firmly believe that with our crew, they do an excellent job, which is awesome. Some other fundraising things that I'm continuing to be a part of. We've got the partnership with Alta Vista Fire Department Association coming up on Saturday. That's typically been one of our larger fundraisers, up to and over $10,000 some years for our department, which is a pretty big deal for us. So we keep working on that and keep pushing forward, I guess. Questions for me?
I'll just comment that you made a comment to your staff doing well, but it also takes the director to put the pieces all together too.
Yeah.
New thing for the county. So appreciate the hard work. In the update, can you remember to maybe discuss at some future agendas about an air conditioner that we talked about?
It was, yeah.
Many months ago, but see if we have money this year or see if we can start it next year.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you answered my question on the average hour per week, which is part of the contract. You need 30, but you're well over that, so. Any other questions for his evaluation? I was reading through the contract, everybody had a copy of it, the current one that's on file. You are asking if you use your own personal truck for business for the county. I mean, you can submit claims for mileage reimbursement and stuff like that.
I can, it's
Okay.
more cumbersome sometimes to do the
I
paperwork.
just wanna be,
Yeah. We do, I mean, like if I've got to run down to Fredericksburg, usually I'll take a truck, or I have been known to, if a deputy is heading that way, I'll jump in with them. If I've got to bring a truck back, it kind of works out that way, but on occasion.
all right, anything else for his, employee performance evaluation? I think it's doing great and appreciate the hard work.
On your 43 hours, how much of that is on the rig versus just doing your director role?
It's getting less and less, which is great. I would say when I started, it was about 70-30, and I think now maybe it's flipped the other way. Yeah. It is nice. So you're aware of how our staffing is, but we've always got a paramedic and EMT on. We've always got a paramedic and EMT on, and usually our backup is 2 EMTs or an EMT and a driver. When I'm in the office, if the call sounds serious, I'll jump on with them, so I still do get a fair amount of patient contact, but it does work out pretty well that I'm able to jump when I can. As of late, it seems like I've been covering a fair amount of backup, just because I'm in the office anyway, and it doesn't seem like, if I'm in the office anyway, it seems pretty pointless to pay somebody else to do the backup, so it's been working out pretty favorably.
No, I think you've been doing a great job. You've been helping not only just our own department here, but countywide, like you said, with all the first responders and everything. It's worked out well.
The other things, otherwise we'll move on to the next agenda item. All right, thank you. So the next thing is then to review and approve the EMS director's employment contract for fiscal year 26-27. I do have a new version of it that was prepared by the HR attorneys. They changed the date on number 1 to July 1st of 26 and ending June 30th of 27. They left the 2 lines up on top empty. You guys can see this. And then item number 5, they left empty the salary. I have a pencil mark in, but that's my opinion only. And then I see number 10 is slid over, but that's just it got tabbed over too far. It just needs to be moved over quicker. Otherwise,
But if you got a new one, that happened last year. Okay.
perfect. So anyway, I guess if there's anything else changed except for number 5, I don't see nothing else needs to be changed. Do you, Joe?
No.
So then item number 5 or paragraph that's labeled number 5. For and in consideration of the foregoing, the board shall pay the director in equal installments a salary of blank for the period of July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 27. He's been at $80,000 now from the start of this, going on the 4th year, I believe. My feeling at the beginning was, and Joe, I've said this many times, that 8,000 was a little high in my opinion. But now I think he deserves a raise. But that number is open for debate. I don't know if you guys did any research of other part-time directors in Iowa or the Midwest. I threw out a number of $1.50 an hour. So that's about a raise of $2,350. But like I said, I'm open for debate, discussion.
What would you like, Joel?
Well, I kind of played my hand a little bit already when we came up for the budget meeting and said that I was okay staying where I was at as long as our crew was able to be compensated. I appreciate Isaac's comment that nobody should stay stagnant. And I do fall back on, without the crew, the department isn't functional. So, I mean, if, I would be agreeable to that 100%. That would be fine with me. If all of our departments, if we're encouraging a 3% increase, 3 to 4% increase, whatever the kind of the standard is with our departments is acceptable.
3% is 2,400. Where's that even?
So that's about 3%.
Yeah.
So 4% would be 3,200.
5 would be 5.
So what? So 5%?
That'd be $5,000.
4.
Sorry,
4.
Yeah, 4.
So yeah, 20. Yeah. So 2,400 is 3%. I did about 50 because some departments are doing about 50, but that's just me.
I would be fine with that. I think you've done a really good job, Joel.
I appreciate it.
Your crew talks highly of you.
We have a good matrix between everybody. it works. I've been on services where that's not the case, and I'm pretty grateful that we don't have that, so.
How I got my numbers, just to tell everybody, is I took the 30 hours times about 50 times 52 weeks. And then I came to 2340, I rounded up $10 to 2350. But like I said, I guess we haven't heard from Scott yet.
Yeah, I like the buck 50, I like the 3%, I mean, we're right there. Yeah, that's not really.
I'll just say, Steve has conflict of interest on this one.
I'm gonna abstain.
Yeah, I know that. I just had to declare it. Anything else, Isaac?
4 years without any sort of a raise. I'd be more, I'd say 5%. 4 years with no raise is a long time.
Yeah, all I'll say to that is I know when I was a no vote, the first year, the 80,000 was awful high for a part-time job. I think we're over that now, and, so you would say, so $4,000?
That's just my,
No, I get it. You guys wanna move on that? You two to my right, I guess, or? 2,500, 3,000? I mean, if you take the 43 hours on average, and then it's more than that, so you take the 43 times by 50, times 52, that's 3354. That's what his average, that was your average, right, Joe? 43 hours, so. Would you guys be okay to maybe move it up to 34 or 3,500? Get close to Isaac's 4,000? Just talking.
I'm good with that number.
Which
Be closer.
34 or 35?
35. I guess I'd do 3,500.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. You okay with 35, Joe? Perfect. So the only thing changed then would be item number 5 in his contract, if he's willing to sign first, and then we would sign it next week, but the consensus, I guess if there's a motion to let HR retype this or internal retype it, we can have a motion to set his new contract and authorize my signature with the change of item number 5 to state, for in consideration of the foregoing, the board shall pay the director in equal installments a salary of $83,500 for the period of July 1st, 26 through June 30th, 27. So in the amount of $83,500. Is there a motion of that cell type?
Oh,
Is there a second?
Sorry.
Motion by Isaac, second by Scott, to agree to fiscal year 26-27 contract with the EMS Director Joe Knutson, changing item number 5, paragraph 5, to state $83,500 for a salary. Any discussion?
The one we got in our email was signed back in February.
Yeah, I gave you last year's. It was actually signed 2 months ago, or a month ago.
I'll explain a little bit of that. Or Sheila, do you want to?
So somehow the contract, we had the minutes and everything in the file and that, but we didn't have the actual contract. So when we were getting ready for this year, getting ready for the contract, we had to go.
I provided my
Fine.
minutes from Ann, I provided minutes from the board minutes. I think you have a copy of all those. Good question. Trying to be transparent.
Oh, I don't know.
You don't have the minutes.
What?
It
No.
was confusing.
So back on
But
April
just
20,
confusing.
yep, so on April 28th, board minutes on the 27th, there was a motion made to change the dates and the evaluation annually. If you go back to the minutes, that's what it says. So with those minutes in my email attachment, I approved it, David approved it.
Yeah, and then it came back to me and I must have missed it. And so when we realized it, then we got the agreement and then we signed using the dates that we signed it, which was, what date was it?
February,
On February 23rd of 26, and then that I attested it. But the actual agreement was,
dated April 28th.
yeah,
Good question. Not trying to hide anything from anybody.
I just,
You saw it.
no, we wrote down the wrong dates last year.
well, I didn't know that was supposed to say 25 or.
So this one will get a change. Sheila does have the Word doc now, is change the amount, put the dates on the top. And then myself and Joel will sign it and Sheila will attest it as soon as we get those things switched over.
Did
This
you have
is,
the Word doc? Did you send it to me?
I think Jeff sent it to me,
Okay.
the HR attorney that took over a little bit of work for. We still gotta vote on this. Any other discussion? Do a roll call vote. Isaac? Scott?
Aye.
Travis? Steve?
Abstain.
And Jake, I motion is carried 4-1 with Steve's abstaining. So it passed 4-0. All right, thank you, Joe, for that all.
Yeah.
Ambulance update, you wanted this on here? You have some
Yeah,
good,
so-
bad news, I don't know.
No, well, no, really, no news, to be honest. So, when we first talked about it, we talked about a 26 or 27 chassis. We were all in agreement, let's push the chassis as long as we can till the build of the ambulance starts, just in case. You know, we don't wanna sit on a chassis for a year, eating up that warranty before we actually need it, and tying up those funds, honestly. There was some mention, and I'm talking to a few members, of Ram potentially going away from the 6.7 Cummins in 2027. Wanted to verify that, like, we didn't get a new engine first out of the gate to be potentially a problem child. So I did talk to a couple of, different Ram dealers. They said it was talked about, it is not gonna be in the 27 chassis. The 27 chassis will have the 6.7 Cummins. The only good part about it is with the EPA regulations changing, there may not need to be emissions on it. So that would be the only super awesome thing. But the engine in itself is gonna stay the same. So just wanted to make you guys aware of that. That way, you know, when the bids come back next week, we aren't all, you know, scratching our heads and going, well, you know, are we really gonna get what we think we're getting? So that was the only thing I wanted to mention about it.
Any other department update?
No, I, like I said, the kind of bled over into some of the grants that we just got, super stoked about those, so that'll be awesome, but we will see those, being used before, the end of the fiscal year, so, for their agreements. A couple other grants that are out there waiting on official word back on, but, all pertaining to equipment, so.
I got one other question.
Yeah.
Joel. This was mentioned to me a while ago, and I don't know how to really state this, but are we taking like transfers, like out of Mason City?
Mason City coming home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like to Rochester or Iowa City
Not-
or anything?
To my knowledge, we've not done a Mason City to Rochester. We've done quite a few Floyd County to Rochesters. We've helped out Osage once or twice to Rochester. The only time we would go all the way to Mason City and back is if they were like coming back for skilled care at our hospital here or a nursing home or hospice or something. The way I've always guided our group is it's gotta make sense, right?
Okay, well, that's what I was
Right.
getting at is,
We only get paid for loaded miles.
Yep.
Yeah, so, we have taken a transfer or two out of Allen to Iowa City, but it's been, when we've been down there, taking a patient down there, that it's worked out. So you can get paid twice and only come home once. We would probably break even at best. If we were to drive to Allen, then to Iowa City, and then come all the way back home, it would probably be a break even. The good part about this with the Medicaid supplemental that we're getting now, it's okay. It's not great money, but it's okay.
well, I'm not saying we need to make money, but I don't.
Don't wanna lose money? Yeah, right, right. Or lose less money? Yeah, no, I get that. Like I said, how I've always guided our crew is just make it make sense, right? We're not gonna, Allen to Rochester, we'll do those all the time because that's only an hour down, but 2 hours of transport for an hour back home. Like, those make money. But yeah, don't drive 2 hours to somewhere to do a 15-minute transfer.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, and everybody's pretty okay with that. We have seen a pretty improving or growing ask out of Floyd County here lately. I've chatted with one of their board of supervisor members over there. I offered them a little bit of guidance. I don't know exactly what they're going to do. At some point, I think you guys and their board need to get together and discuss what their end goal is. Are there some opportunities for cost sharing between the two counties to make it a more, financially improved system potentially? But right now, it seems like there's a lot of unknowns with that county and what they're going to do. I've heard that the contract with their current provider has went up pretty substantially. So I think they're probably in the mood to move quicker than later. But again, I think maybe after budget season is over for you guys, it would be good for everybody to have a meeting and at least explore some potentials.
I think I can say this is part of it, right, Scott?
Yeah. Joel and I talked about the other day, yeah.
I think after budget work session, me and Scott are working on a 4-county supervisor meeting along with Butler, Bringer, Chickasaw, and Floyd. Kind of what we do with the 6-county. I think if the state does what I think they're gonna do, I think we're gonna see a lot more sharing agreements, 2080s with neighboring counties. So.
And through public health, they've been pushing that for a while, regionalizing and condensing, and there is some funding to help with that, which is good. There's some granting for that, so.
We'll get through April here and then hopefully set up a 4-county meeting. So another day that we need to go visit with our neighbors to the west and south and see what there's potential agreement of sharing with all county departments. If there's anything that we can do to help be more cost efficient if we do get restricted funds. So,
Good enough.
thanks, Joel. Anybody else have a committee assignment that
Yes, sir, yeah.
Scott?
Last Thursday afternoon, I had a nerd meeting. Approved treasurer's report, paid the bills, had a training update, and then we had some equipment updates. We purchased a Milwaukee battery complete tool set for $4,800. And then we discussed buying a couple pumps. These would be like a diaphragm pneumatic drive pumps to use to move fuel and chemicals. We're still getting the specs back to exactly what we need to have to, obviously we want to be able to cover a wide range of chemicals. Also would include an air compressor. We okay to purchase up to $25,000. And that's a fairly small air compressor. This pump is supposed to pump between 75 and 150 gallons a minute. So if we have a semi or something like that, we would probably just rent a big 4-cylinder type air compressor to operate it. Then we discussed after that, there was a sulfuric acid leak in Poland and Iowa Falls back in February. And we had quite a discussion on that as to, NERD was called to the scene, but before they ever got there, they were turned away. Because Poland themselves had decided to go with a different company. So there was a lot of question on whether or not to bill for just the initial hours of the response, because I guess the NERD team had been paged to the station and sat there until they were told to come to the scene. It was decided that we would bill the Hardin County Board of Supervisors, but give them 60 days to try to collect from Poet before they had to pay us. Was the decision. It was, I can't remember the exact number, but honestly, it was around $2,500 or so was all it was, just because we really never did anything except for load up and leave. After that, we nominated a new vice chair and approved the fiscal year 27 budget. That's what we did.
Now it's your turn.
NERD.
All right. I think all we left is discuss future agenda items. You guys, we have a safety meeting at 12:30 today, followed by a department head meeting. Judy Hademaker will be there around probably 12:45, so 1 o'clock maybe. She's visiting with, I think, Fayette County this morning, so. Tomorrow's meeting, I will not be in attendance. I gotta take a kid to a hospital appointment, so Scott will be running the meeting. You guys got any board packets already? Your different options for health insurance? You guys can bring those questions and concerns up. Just so everybody's on page, she gave out 3 alternative plans, only with the PSF changing. A 3%, a 4%, or a 5% increase total wide health insurance. All it does is puts more money into PSF. So she'll explain it tomorrow. She'll go over the dental and the life stuff. The only thing on tomorrow's agenda is Denise Ballard. Next week's agenda. We were supposed to see some TIF stuff today, but Travis Squires has been held up in Des Moines. He works, I think I can share this, he works for the League of Cities a little bit on some of their potential law changes, so he's been in the Capitol a lot lately. He apologizes for not getting us a bond sold. He is working on it this week though, so hopefully next Monday we will see some documents for some resolutions. If we don't see it next week, Jason has been in contact that we are gonna do a $5,000 loan to the fund to pay the B-22 setup cost. Just because we don't have a bond sold yet. So I'm working on Travis and Jason to get us all these documents. We'll see for the 16th. I think we do have the applications due shortly on the New Hampshire Board of Adjustments. I don't know if anybody applied yet, but if you guys know anybody in the 2-mile radius that is willing to serve on that Board of Adjustments, get an application to them. 2 positions. Yeah. Otherwise, we'll see you at 12:30. One of us. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So,
Motion by Scott, second by Travis to adjourn at 11:03. All in favor, say aye. Aye, anybody opposed? Motion is carried. Shut this off.